If your clients, customers, and stakeholders are not asking you questions on fairness of your model, then be prepared, they are going to do it very soon. Welcome to Unfold Data Science. My name is Aman and I am a data scientist. I keep meeting to stakeholders and I keep engaging myself with the developments in the world of AI. And I can assure you, you have to spend some time learning fairness of AI. Let's do that in this video and try to understand why AI fairness is important and how we are tackling it in the real world. Let's see some of these facts. Here are the topics for today, guys. First of all, we will try to learn why discuss AI fairness, okay? Why this topic is so important. Then we are going to understand what are different types of biases in AI. Then I'm going to explain you how do you measure the fairness of an AI model, right? So there has to be some metric to measure the fairness, right? So we will see those metrics. Then we are going to see some bias mitigation techniques. Then I'm going to take you to Python demo and I'm going to leave you with some way forward and materials to learn. Okay. With that in mind, guys, let's try to understand why discuss AI fairness, why I'm putting so much attention on this topic. Okay. But even before going that, right, what is AI fairness? If somebody asks you, what is AI fairness? So to keep it very, very simple, AI fairness is basically an approach to achieve AI to be free from bias and discrimination. Okay. So what we are trying to do when we are trying to make AI fair is we are trying to make AI free from bias and discrimination. Okay. That is the simple definition of AI fairness. Now let's try to understand why AI fairness is critical or why uh, we should have fair AI whenever we are trying to build any product. Okay. So the first reason your AI should be fair is global considerations. Okay. So I will give you some example of if your AI is not fair, then what can happen. Okay. So suppose you are building a model for weather forecasting. Okay. And your weather forecasting model does good in Europe, but it does not do good in the Asia. Okay. So that becomes a bias in your model. So that becomes an unfair AI. So that AI model is doing good in some geography, not doing good in some geography. Another example of global consideration could be you are building a facial detection model, right? So on some of the ethnicity or race, it is working well. On the others, it is not. Okay. So that is not a right thing to have. That is the first reason. You should always have the global consideration for your AI model. Okay. Second and very important reason here is trust and transparency. Okay. So if you have built a model which you are trying to sell or you are trying to present it to the clients and customers, right, then you need to be very, very trustworthy and transparent in what your model is doing. Okay. So you need to present the facts and figures that my model is not unfair, my model is doing good, my model is not doing something that is not morally good or ethically good. Okay. So those parts you need to have. That brings transparency and trust in your clients, stakeholders, etc. Third thing why you should have a fair AI model is basically due to regulatory and regulatory and legal requirements. So nowadays you might be hearing a lot of new age AI jobs are coming, right? So in that there will be AI regulators and many roles around that, right? So in many countries in the Europe and in US, now we are seeing that lot of regulations around AI is coming and lot of legal requirements around AI is coming. So in these kind of requirements, the fairness of your model will be measured. Okay. So if your model is unfair, right, then it may be difficult for you to sell the model. Okay. And you may be going out of the market also. And then ethical consideration, basically, so nobody wants something which is not ethical in nature. So basically you need to have an ethical model in place. So whatever your model is doing, that should be fine, that should be good for the society, humanity, and things like that, right? And then most important from business point of view, reputation and brand value. Okay. So again, I'll give you one example. Suppose I am a phone manufacturer. I make a phone. That phone has a face unlock feature, and that face unlock feature is working very good in USA, not working that good in Australia, not working that good in South Asia. What will happen is the brand value and reputation of that phone will go for a toss. Okay. So these are some of the very, very strong reasons why you should have fair AI models, or why all of us should look for AI fairness. Okay. These are some of the key reasons. Now, once we have understand this part, let's try to understand what are different types of bias in AI. Okay, so I'll go step by step so that it is easy for you to understand. Okay, so I'm writing now what are different types of bias in the AI. So you can create your model, you can have different types of biases, but how do you understand or how do you categorize? Okay, so algorithm, algorithm related bias. Okay, let's try to understand what is this. All these things will be very useful for you in the interview. Okay, when you talk to somebody, you can talk on these lines. Okay, so algorithm related bias, what will be the one example of this? One example of this will be, suppose this is my data, training data. Okay, and I'm trying to train a model for bank, and this column is basically loan approval column. Okay, so loan approved, loan approved, this is my target column, yes, no. Okay, and in the independent features, right, suppose I have a feature called postcode. Okay, post code or zip code. Okay, and what is happening here is, due to some kind of feature selection, feature reduction, or due to some kind of combining multiple features, right? What is happening is this postcode is impacting the prediction a lot. Okay, so what is happening is, we have done something, algorithm has done something with the features, due to which this postcode is impacting the loan approved a lot. So this is a bias in the model. So what will happen is, people from one area only will get loans approved, other areas will not get loan approved. Okay, so something related to that can happen, and then what will happen is, your entire model will go for a bias. There could be different scenarios in this category. I'm just trying to give you a simple example. In your feature engineering, suppose one or two features get removed or get selected, and that is very highly correlated to the target, or it is not doing justice to all the groups. We will talk about different metric now, but if this postcode is not doing justice to both yes and no category, right, that can introduce bias in your model. Okay, second thing that you need to understand here is, one is algorithm bias, second is data bias. Okay, so data related bias, what data related bias could be there? So suppose in the same loan application, right, I am free to take the training data. Okay, so suppose I take training data in which only women applicants are there. Okay, only women applicants. So this is a data bias. Okay, suppose I take the data in between, um, in between recession period. Okay, so my training data is of recession period. So in recession period, maybe the regulations around giving loans, or bank don't want to give loan that easily, right? So this will introduce bias in my model, this will introduce bias in my model. So these are examples of how data can introduce bias in your model. Okay, and third example is basically human bias. So try to understand what is human bias also. Suppose I'm a human. Okay, and I'm using an AI model for selecting or shortlisting the candidates for data science interview. Okay, selecting or shortlisting candidates for data science interview. Somebody who writes a maybe native English speaker, just an example. Okay, somebody in which resume, right, there is native English speaking I see in that resume, or my AI model tells me that these guys are native English speakers, and somewhere in my mind I have a bias that people who are native English speakers, they are good in AI or data science. Okay, so what can happen is, I can introduce a human bias there, though it is a conjunction with the AI. AI is helping me to select the candidates, but I can have my own bias in my brain. Okay, which tells me that somebody who is good in English is maybe good in data science. Okay, so when it's basically a situation of, you know, combined learning, human and machine, that kind of situation where human is introducing their bias into the machine. Okay, so that category is basically human bias. So what kind of bias you can have in your model? Data bias, human bias, and algorithm related bias. And what is the purpose we are trying to achieve? We are trying to be bias free. Okay, now let's try to understand some of the metric through which you measure is your AI model fair or unfair. Okay, so for that to understand, I will simply say, imagine this is a men's group. Okay, so this group is men's group or male, I will say. Okay, and on right hand side I will say female. Okay, I will say female, and suppose these are female. Okay, these are female population. Both of these population go ahead and apply for a loan. Both of these population go ahead and apply for a loan, and this loan approval process happens through an AI model. Okay, so this loan approval process happens through an AI model. Now let's try to understand what could be the different biases here. Okay, the first kind of bias that can happen here is called demographic parity. Okay, so I will write here demographic parity. The meaning of this is very simple. Your model should be should give equal chance of loan approval to male and female both. Okay, so if your model is not giving equal chance of loan approval to both male and female both, then your model is doing a bias. Okay, so all groups should have same chance of loan approval. That is what is demographic parity. Now this I am writing male female, you can simply think like different race, ethnicity, geographical location, whatever you want to put here. Okay, so all groups should have same chances of getting their loan approved. That is the first measure, that is demographic parity. Okay, second measure, if your AI is biased or unbiased, same chances of same chance or the same chance of true positive and false positive in both the group. Okay, and the terminology for this is basically equalized odds. Equalized odds, the meaning of equalized odds is true positive and false positive for male category and true positive and false positive for female category, both should be near to equal. It should not be too far from each other. Okay, which means that in both these groups you are giving equal opportunity of true positive and false positive. Okay, this is a different than demographic parity. There will be slight difference, but just try to understand those slight differences only, because these are different measures. Then we call something known as equal opportunity. Okay, and the meaning of equal opportunity is the true positive rate. Okay, the true positive rate in both the categories should be same or near to same. It should not be too far from each other. Okay, the another metric that comes here is called FPR parity, false positive rate parity. All these are your AI bias measures. Okay, they will ask you these things in interviews now. If they are not asking till now, they will ask now. Okay, then there is something called as error rate parity. The meaning of error rate parity is in all the groups. So whenever I say groups, you can think of male, female, race, gender, whatever you want to call it. Okay, ethnicity. So error rate parity. So the chances of making error in male group should be similar to chances of making error in the female group. Okay, there are some more, but I will just write one or two only. One is called group or individual fairness. These are two different actually, but I'm just writing as one. So none of the groups or none of the individual should have more or less chances than others. Okay, so any, for example, in a class, right, there could be different individual. One individual could be um, let's take an example of interview setup. Okay, so all individuals should have equal chances or equal opportunity of getting selected. It should not happen that one individual, since he or she is coming from, let's say, some specific country, he or she is getting better chances of being selected. It should not happen. Okay, so individual fairness should be there, and group fairness should also be there based on different scenarios. Like, for example, in a loan group application, right? So if I say that, um, uh, let's say many people are applying for loans, right? So we can say that one group I'll give more priority. So that is not something right to have. Okay, these are your different fairness metric. Okay, now I have given you a lot of theoretical knowledge on why AI is important, and why, what are different types of biases, why fairness AI should be discussed, and what are different measures. One last thing I want to tell you before we move on to Python, and that is how do you mitigate the bias. Okay, so bias mitigation. Okay, bias could be there in your model, but how do you mitigate the bias? Okay, so bias could be mitigated at three levels. One is at pre-processing level. Okay, so before training, when I say pre-processing, that means before training. Second is in processing. So in your training, you can mitigate some of these biases. And third is post processing. Okay, post processing. So I will not go into too detail of all these categories, but I will just tell you pre-processing means do everything possible with data. Do everything possible with data so that your data does not have bias. Okay, with data. In processing means do everything possible with model. I will show you in processing now. Okay, post processing means do everything possible with model plus result. Okay, there are different ways of bias mitigation in all these categories. Okay, what we are going to learn is one of these known as constraint based mitigation. Okay, so this is called constraint based mitigation. Okay, so let me take you to Python and show you what I mean by constraint based mitigation and how I'm going to do that. So there is a package called Fair Learn. Okay, you can Google about this. This is a kind of well-known package in the world of AI fairness now. You can Google about this Fair Learn. Okay, and what I'm trying to do is all these things are not new for you. Just importing the packages, just taking sklearn, standard scaler, one hot scaler. I will just share this notebook with you. Let me try explaining you what is happening here. Okay, and then I'm adding a data set here, German credit data set. Okay, then there is some pre-processing happening. Okay, some simple pre-processing, for example 10 for class, and in this sex column I'm just taking male female kind of thing. Okay, so basic data cleaning. Then categorical and numerical column separation is happening. Then one hot encoding preparation is happening. Then split data is happening. All these things are very common for you, so I'm not explaining much. Line number 32, if you see carefully, right, I'm saying my sensitive feature is this one. Okay, so what I'm saying my sensitive feature is gender column, because gender column is something which I explained you here also. There is a good possibility that in the gender column there could be some bias. There is a good possibility that my AI model could be unfair in the gender column. So what I will do is I will tell to my model here that my gender column is unfair. I doubt that this is a sensitive column. Okay, then what I'm doing is I'm stratifying by sensitive feature. So basically what I want to do is when I create the stratification of the data, right, sensitive, test, and train, just want to say to the model that, hey, this is my sensitive feature, and when you are breaking data in a sensitive train and sensitive test, right, then take this into consideration. So if you see here, this is basic train test split, but here we are saying sensitive feature. Okay, and here we are saying stratify is equal to stratify data. So what we will get when we do this is X train, X test, Y train, Y test, anyway we will get. We will also get sensitive trend and sensitive test based on the stratification of the sensitive column. Okay. Apply pre-processing you already know. And here I'm fitting a model if you see here. Okay. I'm fitting a model here. And I'm saying from fairlearn.metric import metric frame. Metric frame is basically a sub-module of fairlearn that tells you that in your sensitive category. So let me run this and I will show you what is happening here. It tells you that in your sensitive category, this is how the accuracy for male and female. This part is very important, guys. Please pay attention here. Total model accuracy 75%. Accuracy on female is 0.69. Accuracy on male is 0.775. So this is not a good scenario to be in. Okay. If my model accuracy is 75, what I want to have is in female category also near to 75, in male category also near to 75. Okay. How I am able to print these numbers is based on metric frame. So I go to metric frame and I tell to metric frame that give me a group by count of this. Metric is this y test y true, and then sensitive features each sensitive test, whatever is the insensitive test, right? That it will take in the sensitive feature. Okay, and based on that it will just give me metric frame. So here I am, what it is telling me is your model is doing good in one category but not doing good in zero category. So just a measure of unfairness of my model. Till now what we have done is we have understood that my model is not doing good. My model is unfair on one category. How to make it fair? As I told you, till now we have measured that the model is not doing good on demographic parity only, it seems. Okay, the first one only is not right. Basic accuracy is not good in both these groups. Okay, so what can we do? As I told you, different ways of dealing with it, and now we will deal with constraint based mitigation. So if you see here, I'm saying from Fairlearn.reduction, import exponentiated gradient demographic parity. Okay, so I'm taking demographic parity and I'm taking constraint is equal to demographic parity. If you see here, and I will also say to my model, which is my sensitive feature. So if you see carefully from here to here, right, I'm importing exponentiated gradient demographic parity. Okay, I'm saying I'll explain you what is exponentiated gradient, but before that, I'm fitting a logistic regression model and I'm giving constraint as demographic parity. Okay, and this is my mitigator, and then mitigator dot fit. I'm giving my training data here. So demographic parity, I am telling the model to achieve. What is demographic parity? That I explained you here. I am telling my model to achieve demographic parity. Okay, and I am also telling my model to this is my sensitive features. Okay, sensitive features is equal to sensitive train. Those two information I'm giving to my model. And what is the meaning of exponentiated gradient is very simple. Okay, so what it will do is, suppose in your data, this column is male column. This column is female column. This column is male column. This column is female column in training data, right? Suppose male is doing good and female is not doing good. What it will do is, just like an ensemble model, right? It will fit one more model. And what it will do is it will increase the weight of these, Okay. Once it increases the weight of this, right? In the next model will try to make these records correct prediction. So this is basically one kind of adaptive boosting, if you can think of, to just relate it with ensemble, right? Whatever is misclassified or whatever is seeing low score in that demography, right? Just keep increasing the weight of that and try to adjust it. So what we are saying here is exponentiated gradient, fit a logistic regression. My constraint is demographic parity and my sensitive features are this. Okay. And then this is a simple thing from here to here. And if I run this same model, right, you will see that in both these categories now, it will be equally. Now it is slightly changing mitigation. Let me run this one more time and one more time. Okay, so if you can see here, it is 73 and now 70 and 74. Okay, so it is better than this actually. 77 has reduced and 69 has increased, right? And both of these are near to your final model accuracy. So what we can say here is, if my AI model is 73% accurate, then in both these categories, it is near to that. If there is another category here, my objective is for all my groups, it should perform equally good. Okay. And it should not only happen on one metric. Here I'm taking accuracy metric. You can say your model fair if it does good on all these metric. Okay. Whatever we are putting here, and there are some more, but your model should do good on all these metric. Okay. So what next from here, guys? There is something called as IBM AI Fairness 360. Okay. IBM AI Fairness 360. I want you to go and read about this. Okay. There is something known as Google What If tool. What If tool. Okay. Just read about this as well. And believe me, guys, AI fairness is a topic on which you need to learn. You need to know how to talk, and you need to present facts and figures very soon if you are not doing it now. Okay. With that, I'll just attach my notebook in my GitHub. Okay. And give you the link. GitHub link is already there in the video description. You can pick it from there. And please don't forget to drop a comment and press the like button, guys. See you all in the next video. Wherever you are, stay safe and take care.